When you grab a snack off the shelf, the last thing you're thinking is that it's going to somehow hurt you. Yet 6 out of every 10 Americans have at least one chronic disease, and the United States has one of the highest rates of cancer compared to other developed nations. While factors like obesity and low activity levels definitely play into this, there's no doubt that a lot of the foods that are sold and consumed in America are not exactly good for our health. Although we have more food abundance than almost any other country in the world, and even though our stores are lined with a seemingly endless variety of colorful, flavorful foods and snacks, the overall health of the average American man and woman has continued to decline. Coincidentally, many foods that sit on our shelves here in America are prohibited in other countries due to the use of ingredients deemed unsafe for human consumption. Recently, RFK Jr. has shined a spotlight on the Food and Drug Administration and has vowed to crack down on foods and ingredients that he blames for much of the unhealthy state of Americans, including ultra-processed foods and food additives. So today I want to go over some foods and snacks, as well as ingredients that you may want to avoid or at least limit because they're already banned in many other countries. So first we have Swiss rolls, which contain certain ingredients that are illegal in other countries but are in a ton of other American foods that I'm about to list off for you. Many of which you're probably eating because you just can't get away from these ingredients. I'm talking about synthetic food dyes. Little Debbie Swiss rolls are banned in countries like Austria and Norway due to their use of dyes, including yellow number 5, also known as tartrazine, and red number 4, also known as Allura Red. These dyes have been associated with hyperactivity in children and potential carcinogenic risks. European countries try to stay away from these synthetic dyes and instead use natural coloring agents. On the other hand, in the US, these additives are allowed while requiring a disclaimer for potential adverse effects. The part that makes this worse is that tartrazine, or yellow 5, is used in many other products other than just Swiss rolls. Almost any snack or packaged product that has a bright yellow or orange tint uses yellow number 5. This includes Doritos, Cheetos, cheddar potato chips, Cheez-Its, yellow-colored sodas, many candies like M&Ms, and even macaroni and cheese mix. These foods are obviously heavily processed, so it may not be that surprising to find them on this list. But one food group that you're probably not expecting on this list is US meats and dairy products. That's right, other countries don't want products that come from our factory farming practices. American meat and dairy products face bans across the European Union as well as many other countries due to the widespread use of growth hormones and antibiotics. Hormones such as RBGH are used in the US to increase milk production in cows. However, in Europe, these hormones are banned due to concerns about their potential links to cancer and other serious health issues. Not only are these other countries fearful of chronic health risks, but they're also worried about the overuse of antibiotics in livestock leading to antibiotic resistance. If other countries have banned US meat and dairy imports, it's definitely worth it to try to go for pasture-raised and grass-fed sources of meat and dairy, which usually prominently display that they avoid the use of antibiotics and hormones right on the package. Next is Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is one of America's most popular sodas, and while this green-looking soda might taste great, it contains bromine, which is a chemical also used in flame retardants. These are chemicals used to reduce the flammability of materials such as plastics, fabrics, and furniture. For example, brominated flame retardants, also known as BFRs, are added to electronics or household items to prevent fires from starting or spreading. While they serve an important safety purpose, chemicals like bromine have been linked to health risks such as hormonal disruptions, neurological issues, and potential damage to internal organs like the thyroid and liver. This is why bromine is banned across Europe and Japan. Meanwhile, the FDA permits it to be used as a food additive while setting specific limits. Although the amounts used in drinks like Mountain Dew are considered low, cumulative exposure over a long time is a big concern for many regulatory agencies outside of the FDA. And BVO is used in many other foods and beverages. The interesting thing is that if the FDA was to crack down on bromine, the likely outcome would be the same as what has happened in other countries. PepsiCo, the parent company of Mountain Dew, has removed BVO from their products that they sell in markets with stricter regulations. Another food on our list that uses yellow number 5 is Skittles, but Skittles have an entirely different ingredient that has gotten it banned in many other countries across Europe. This ingredient is titanium dioxide and is primarily used as a whitening agent. So it's used in some candies like Skittles to give them a brighter appearance. It also happens to be used in sunblock and sunscreen. So, sure enough, it was classified as a potential carcinogen by the European Food Safety Authority in 2022. This classification led to its ban in food products throughout the European Union. Meanwhile, the US continues to allow titanium dioxide, arguing that the amounts used in food are minimal and unlikely to pose significant risks. The issue, however, is that like other toxic ingredients, titanium dioxide is not metabolized by your body, so it can accumulate over time. In fact, some studies suggest that titanium dioxide nanoparticles can accumulate in the body, potentially causing cellular damage, inflammation, and oxidative stress. Also, animal studies, which don't directly translate to humans, but they show that prolonged exposure to titanium dioxide nanoparticles have been linked to DNA damage and effects on the immune system. Moving to our next banned food, we have Pop-Tarts, which has been marketed as a staple American breakfast item. However, Pop-Tarts are banned in other countries like Austria and France due to their use of partially hydrogenated oils. These are a source of trans fats, which have been conclusively linked to heart disease, so this led to bans in many countries. The FDA, on the other hand, took a different stance by significantly reducing the permissible use of trans fats. This allows companies to continue producing products like Pop-Tarts and many baked desserts like cake with trans fats, while having alternative, healthier versions of these products with zero trans fats in other countries. Trans fats increase the risk of heart disease by raising LDL cholesterol and lowering the good HDL cholesterol. They're also artificially created through hydrogenation and are linked to inflammation, artery clogging, and other health issues. Pop-Tarts also contain artificial dyes like yellow number 5, red number 40, so Pop-Tarts are definitely not part of a healthy breakfast, unlike what marketers want you to believe. Let's move on to a beverage that a lot of people associate with health and athletic performance, Gatorade. However, not only is regular Gatorade full of sugar, making it a deceptive option if you're trying to burn fat, but many varieties carry the same issues as Mountain Dew due to another bromine concern. That's why, like Mountain Dew, certain Gatorade variants are banned in Europe and Japan. Flavors like lemon, lime, orange, and other bright colored flavors also contain yellow number 5 and yellow number 6. In many European countries, it's not like Gatorade has stopped selling beverages. They just sell a formula without bromine and synthetic dyes. The same would happen in America if they took a firmer stance on these potentially toxic ingredients. Another breakfast item that many countries don't like is Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops and other similar breakfast cereals are banned in countries like France and Norway due to its high sugar content. These countries have taken a firm stance against excessive sugar due to its role in childhood obesity, and the same synthetic dyes used in these candy-type breakfast cereals are also linked to behavioral issues in children. The ban in Europe shows their commitment to combat rising obesity rates by offering healthier choices and limiting high-sugar processed foods to children. In the US, we have every possible variety of high-sugar processed cereal that so many children eat for breakfast day in and day out. These cereals' nutrition facts are basically equivalent to pouring candy in your bowl. Many American breakfast cereals are also banned or restricted in European countries due to their use of BHT and BHA, two preservatives that are used to extend shelf life but are classified as possible carcinogens. Another food with trans fats is Ritz crackers. Ritz crackers are banned in Switzerland and Austria due to their use of partially hydrogenated oils. Like I said earlier, these oils have been linked to cardiovascular disease and are becoming increasingly prohibited worldwide. The United States and the FDA knows this, but despite the known risks, they've moved at a much slower pace to make regulatory changes. This is why French fries, cookies, cakes, pies, pastries, and donuts all use partially hydrogenated oils to extend their shelf life. I would argue that it's better to require companies to take these oils out of our foods completely, even if it means decreasing shelf life to improve the health of the American population. Biscuits are our next food, and not only do they usually contain trans fats, but they're banned across Europe due to another additive that strengthens and improves the elasticity of the dough, potassium bromate. This ingredient can be found in many Pillsbury dough-like products like biscuits. The crazy part is that potassium bromate is classified as a carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, and it's prohibited in Europe, Canada, and several other countries. But not good old US of A. Here, you guessed it, the FDA has taken the stance that the amount of potassium bromate does not exceed specified levels. I personally don't understand why any known carcinogens are used in our food, and potassium bromate has specifically drawn a lot of negative attention and criticism of the FDA. because it simply should not be allowed in our food. So those are some of the top foods that are banned outside the United States. Unfortunately, the list goes on. There are many other foods that contain some of the ingredients that I mentioned today. Hopefully in the near future, there will be some changes made by the FDA to not allow some of these ingredients to be added to our foods. So that about wraps it up. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to start eating healthier food while losing some weight and body fat in the process, but you don't have an exact plan, then try my free 6-week shred. You'll get a personalized 6-week workout plan, a personalized meal plan based on your preferences that comes with a recipe book, and you'll also get a coach to help guide you through the entire program. To find out more, you can click the link in the description below, or you can head straight on over to my website at gravitytransformation.com. I'll see you guys soon.